We sat on this sofa on the 3rd of July, Michael Bruce. In the last few months, we've had the portal wars, where we've had Rightmove, these are my words, mess things up with their derisory and derogatory offer to the industry. Then they went to 75%. And then we had Zoopla come out trying to, some would say, I haven't say it, but some would say bribe people by saying, come off Rightmove and we'll give it to you for free. What would you, now Rightmove came out a few days ago and basically said there will be a transition on a fee. What would you do if you were the Rightmove boss, and then what would you do if you were the Zoopla boss? Talk to me.
I mean, both those guys run much bigger businesses than I've ever run. The reality of the situation is I don't think they would have any problem with me saying, I think they got the mood of the industry wrong. In fairness, I think that anyone that offered them 250 quid a month in a very, very difficult situation, when other people with far less firepower were doing things far, far greater, I think was wrong. But I think they've accepted that, which is fine. And I also think that anyone, in fairness, that took the opportunity to take a commercial advantage from the situation, I think that's a bit misguided as well, in fairness. I've done them things myself, reality. But the thing about all of this, the overcompassing scenario is that, what we got to be really clear about is what's best for customers, because it's them that are really, really important, because it's the more customers that are generated, the more activity there is, the more successful the agents will be. And I think that ultimately with a business, it's a ticking, it's a heart. And the reality is that they got the mood wrong, in my view. And I think also that we've got to be very careful that it's not a Kodak moment.
It's interesting, I was interviewing Jason Bushby, who was commercial director for Rightmove, who left about a year ago. And the accusation that I posed at his door is that Rightmove didn't care about estate agents, and they were faceless. I mean, at least at Purple Bricks, you were happy, and like Russell at eMove, you were happy to put your face up. I know you went to Portal. Do you think they could care more? They lack empathy.
I think, everything's perception and fact, isn't it? So what you've got to do is weigh up all of those things. I think the mindset and mood of the industry is that they have a model which requires them to pay more every year, that they haven't innovated in any particular way to assist and support them to deliver a better outcome, or for the customer to have a much better experience, yet the cost to them has gone up. Any innovation that has happened has been at a cost to the agent, so anything that advances their exposure comes at an additional cost. And I think it's sort of got to that stage where they're sort of fed up of the whole thing, and what they want is for the portals to care about the agent, to care about how they think, to understand the mood of the agent and the pressures that they're under, and to help release some of the pressure, and at the same time deliver a better outcome for their customers, which means everybody's more successful. And I think that they have been slow to do that.
What about the fact that they're faceless? I mean, I invited Ian Springett. I know he's gone now from on the market, and he said whatever date I gave him, he said he was always busy, and he was always busy 6 months in advance. I've invited Zoopla and Rightmove. Why do you think? And I'll give you a doff of my cap. At least you've got the balls to sit there. And I know we've had a previous interview about the Purple Bricks and the agents together. Why do you think there's almost this grey man not pulling your head above the parapet?
The answer to that is predominantly down to, in many ways, the model. Their model is, continuous growth, and therefore it's very difficult to sit here and say that, we're not continuing to pursue that strategy. They're a public company, particularly Rightmove, and on the market, and therefore they've got the issue of, the shareholder interests as well as the agent's interests, and how they balance them and publicly balance them on both sides of the equation. At the end of the day, the key thing is, if you want to change perceptions, you've got to be visible. And if you're not visible, you never change anything.
And then, final question with the portals. There's an awful lot of challenger portals coming up on the rails. Is there any that have impressed you?
I find all of them interesting. I try to learn from every one of them. They've got different approaches, different models. I think that space needs much more innovation, and it needs much more innovation around agent and customers and the experience they get.
It's interesting you keep mentioning customers. Do you think estate agents often forget that the portals are there not for them but for the customer?
I think estate agents. I think the problem is that it's all part of the problem of, every time someone comes from Rightmove or Zoopla to see you, you think they're going to increase your cost. It's going to cost you more money, and it's a vicious circle of a sort of strange relationship between them, and therefore a lot of the narrative is around that relationship.
Do you think that multi-listings could be, where you share fees, could be a great way for agents to come together and also increase fees?
The problem is with that is that if we were a market at 6%, then there is a real opportunity to do that. And that's where the US is able to do it. I think in the UK, where fees are so tough that you really haven't got enough there to share. And secondly, because of no sale, no fee, and all of those things, it makes it really, really difficult to do that.
It could, though, drive fees up if agents got together. I know they've obviously got to be careful with competition law, but if you can come together and actually work together and say, right, from this point on, almost like Longres do it in London, don't they?
Yeah, the thing about it is it's not a fee thing, because fee is the byproduct of everything you put in advance. So if you want to drive a better fee, what we've got to do is we've got to work together to be at the forefront of innovation. If we're leading it, then as a result of leading it, we're delivering a better outcome for customers, better outcome for agents, which gives people a better experience, which means they're very happy to pay more money.
Thank you for your time today.
Pleasure.